Okay, so good afternoon again, everybody. And sorry about um, that. We're through now course activity schedule, and what I was saying was that we're not going to be meeting each other online every week. We have a schedule of sessions that I expect to do with you. Um, that's highlighted in purple on this document that's downloadable from the classroom activity. So when I say no online session, it means there's no live or online meeting session. You all should be interfacing with the material and completing the quiz for that unit. All right, that makes sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
Yes,
as I
sir.
said, if you're having an issue or problem, so the next session I expect to have with you guys is more or less at the end of the month. Okay. Um, Hi, Ophelia. Your mic is open and it's getting some feedback.
Sorry.
That's okay. Um, so, right, so we're seeing here the the titles. So we have the first area, Introduction to Economics. I expect that you all should probably be done with that in about 3 hours to 4 hours time. I am as estimating. Measuring economic performance is the next item that's up. I haven't opened that up yet. There's no online session for it but there is a PowerPoint presentation there that you go through and you look at the quiz and tackle it. When we get to demand and supply, which is unit 2, that's where we will be coming back on the 29th to have a session on that. So and again, and these aren't what's the word I want to use? They aren't carved in stone. We can, in fact, have an additional session if you all require it, if you feel you need it. That way, you know, I'm not going to just abandon you, so it's not that you're never going to see me again until the end of the semester. Does it make sense? So what I want you to be able to do is to be able to reach out to me, and if you want to have some one-to-one time with the content, or if you want the whole class to get together, and that's why we could quickly chat, talk about that in the class WhatsApp chat group, so that we can make a decision about, you know, we'll have a live session this week. Now reserve this day, guys, this time frame, Mondays 5 to 8 for this class. So anything that has to happen will happen at this point. That sounds sensible, all right? Okay, so I've kind of planned out that I'll see you at the end of March. We'll talk about or go through the stuff for demand and supply. Then we'll go do one about 2 weeks later in terms of firms and markets, because this is the one where you tend to get a few more problems with the graphs and stuff. Then we do money and banking is very straightforward and simple, as you all would see. Then we might do a live session for the 3rd of May to deal with government budgets and fiscal policy. That has to do with unit 6. Then international environments is a bit long, so I expect that we will spend some time here. I'm expecting that by the 17th. Now we have an extra week of review, and that live session review has to do with probably reviewing more about what's going on with your group projects and whatnot for that. Okay. So, as I said before, throughout the course, there are going to be quizzes that you are required to do for each unit. So, basically how the quiz works, it's a multiple choice. There are 10 questions, and you're going to get at least 2 chances to do the quiz. So the idea would be that you go through the material, try to understand it, do some additional readings if you want, to assist you there. Let's see if it's here. Should be a reading list attached. If not, I'll have to do that and give it to you additionally from the text. Right, so I'm going to have to do the reading list for you. It should be on the course outline. Hold a sec, let me just get to that course outline. Make sure it's the right one. Semester 2.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep, go ahead.
Is that the one with the book and the chapters and stuff? It has chapters with it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I
it
think
is.
yeah. I have that.
So that's in the course outline.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Right? So in the course outline, it's recommending the chapters here from the textbooks, and there's an additional textbook. So the Sloman, you're all seeing this here, this is from the course calendar. So for each of the introduction and stuff, it's identifying chapters that you can read to help you with this. Now, don't worry with this in class. This was really set up for the live classes or face-to-face classes, which we have to hold back on at this point in time. But the content that we're looking at will come out of these chapters here. All right, so that if you still think you're having problems, you could go to the textbooks, which you can download from the classroom itself. You see them here, so you don't have to go and buy a textbook. So these textbooks are free for you to utilize, and you can also use them for citation and whatnot as well. All right. So far, so good. Any questions?
So, sir, question. So between the textbook and the content that you would be posting in the e-classroom, we should get adequate information from there to do
There
the
should be enough,
quiz.
yes, but you can
Should,
also go on to do further investigations if
sure.
you find, right? So I know YouTube has a lot of videos, little short clips and stuff like that. Sometimes
Yes.
I'll put some of them up for you guys to assist you with some of the content. But there's a guy called Clifford Jacobs. He does a crash course in economics. His are quite good actually. I'm using a shell here, right? So I want to explain something to you guys. The e-classroom shells have been kind of standardized from one lecturer to the other, so that we're not supposed to be putting up. Well, we're not supposed to be doing material outside of the course outline. So I kind of lost a lot of information I had before because I used to have all those videos set up for my class. In fact, you're going to see some of them come back up. But the introductory areas, I need you to kind of just focus on the text and the course outline the presentations that I did. But other areas, there will be additional explanations that you can look for, like simple things like what is economics and that kind of stuff. So there will be videos on it that you can find on YouTube as well, because there's a host of information available out there, and they're all good information. Sometimes you kind of have to be a little picky and make sure that you kind of understand it. There are some that come from foreign countries that are a little more difficult because of the language barriers and stuff like that. So pay attention to that. So the source of data is not the issue. It's just a more of a matter of how you're going to go about understanding the material. So if you need the videos, I will put some videos online, and you can also find other related videos and that kind of stuff. Does that help you understand? Does that answer your question? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was wondering, I lost you there. All right, so each unit has a quiz attached to it. As you can see here, this is unit 1, the introduction. So there's a YouTube presentation. So what happens in this presentation, and then these are YouTube links. So you see what I'm talking about? So you have this, the YouTube links, and then you have the readings as well. So between all these, you should be able to do it. Now, what happened in this particular YouTube link here? So if I do this and you follow me, this is actually putting a presentation together for you guys to look at as an introduction into Econ 110. All right. So you all can look at this when you get a chance. That makes sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir.
I went through
All right.
it. Mm-hmm.
So anybody went through this already?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I did.
Good. Was it helpful?
Yes,
Very much so,
I
yes.
yet
Right.
to absorb all the information, but
Of course,
it has been
you only went up, yes. You only went to the class today. It's going to take a little while for you to take some time and review the information and so on.
yeah, exactly.
When you click on the quiz now, the quiz is going to take you to the thing here. You follow me? Now, this quiz is not available until Thursday, 11th of March. So actually, you know what? Let me do something here for you guys, and that way I can let me go back to my normal rule. I'm gonna make that quiz available now, and I'm going to what's the word I'm going to use? I'm going to preview it with you guys so you can see how it is. So
That would be nice. Yeah.
yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Nice, my foot. That's what. So let's change this date here to today's date. I'm gonna have to change the time to now though. So I'm gonna have to wait till midnight tonight. Let's say 4:45. What time is it now? 6 o'clock. Let's say 12:45. Let's see when we return to class. All right, so the quiz should be available now. So if I click on it as the educator, I can preview the quiz. The quiz opens, well, it's open now. All right. So if you preview the quiz, I will start the attempt. And so what's going to present to you is a question, and you have to fill in a response, and it'll give you an opportunity to check. You'll see a quiz navigation on the right hand. That's the left hand side actually. And as you go through, there are only 10 questions, and you have 20 minutes to do it. Okay. So macroeconomics includes the study of, and you select one, let's say recessions, and check that, and you'll say no, that's not, but you'll have to move on to the next grade because you can't change the question. Which branch of economics studies decisions of individual consumers and individual firms? Well, I know that's microeconomics, so we check that. You tell me it's correct. Next page. So it'll continue going until you finish. There are two types in economics. There are two types of statements. One describes what is, the other describes what ought to be. These statements are what we call positive and normative statements. So check that and move on. You'll get the idea, right? That makes sense? Now, because I'm doing it like this.
So there's a timer.
Yeah, there's a time on the side here.
That timer gets to me.
Forget the time. It's 20 minutes. There's more than enough time to answer 10 questions. I'm telling you now, there's more than enough time. That's why you have to review the material before you come and you do the quiz. Because I can go through this now. Although I'm showing you these questions here, you're not always going to get back the same questions because there's a bank of questions from which the quiz is pulling 10 random questions out of it. But the content is the same.
Sir, would we be able to review the quiz after?
Well, you won't be able to get the correct answer until the end.
Until like you can't do the quiz anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Until the quiz closes, yeah. Now, the way I have it set up now is that if I go back to the quiz here, you would see that I have the quiz closing on the 15th of June. Now, this is because what I found last semester was that some students weren't able to, what's the word I want to do? I want to say to you. They weren't able to to actually do the work together with the class. So they actually came in after classes were finished, the sessions were finished, and they would look at the recordings, go through the material on their own, and then try to attempt quizzes because their job site wasn't cooperating with the whole situation, so they had problems and that kind of stuff. So for them, I had to kind of keep on opening the quizzes for them to get the opportunities to do the older quizzes along the way. So around what I want to do is keep it open. You have 2 attempts at this quiz, and the way it's going to work is going to take the highest score. All right, so you get 2 chances at it, and you move from that time and moving forward. Does that sound okay, Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir.
As the content gets a little harder, I would tend to increase the amount of what's it called? Increase the number of attempts that you can get, especially if students having problems with it. Because, as I said before, for the vast majority of you guys, you've never done economics before, so it's kind of difficult for you to just try to do something once and attempt to get it right. Right? So this is about building your capacity to understand. So my thinking is that it'll be useful for you to be able to get more than one attempt at getting it done. That makes sense? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So from my view, you'll be able to see what the next unit looks like. So you'd have the next unit here. It's currently hidden. I will just turn them on, and so like here I can show the topic. So if you go back to your view, you're going to see unit 4 coming up. Now, if you look at the course outline, it doesn't run unit 1, then 2. It goes unit 1, then unit 4, then back to unit 2, then 3, and then we get to money and banking, which is 5. So I brought money and measuring economic performance up a bit because there's content in there that would be useful to help you all. So guys, don't be afraid to ask for an extension on something if you're having problems, because between work, home, and school and life in general, things can happen to make life really uneasy, and my objective here is for you to learn, not to punish you because your life just falling apart around you, or you can't get certain things organized. See that up front. Okay. All right. So you have 7 of those quizzes, and each of the quizzes will count for, basically 1/7 of your final grade. And you're getting more than one attempt at the quizzes to be able to get it right. All right. So far, so good. That counts for 50% of your final grade. Any questions on that?
No, sir.
All right. So the next assignment is an individual research assignment, which is already live, meaning that you could start work on this as we speak. That's going to be 20%. Then there's something called a newspaper article, or I actually prefer to call it just not a newspaper, but an article journal. So basically in that one, these are 20%, and there are 2 deadlines for submission. The 4th of April is the first deadline, and the 16th of May is the second deadline for submission. If you go to the e-classroom, you'd see where you're supposed to submit them. So there are 2 submission points. So how many of you all are familiar with Turnitin?
Yeah, I use it in a few English classes.
Right. Now you're gonna, right. So now you're going to be using it for checking your citation requirements for individual assignments, and your group assignment as well, because there's a citation, or what we call a similarity rating, that's required for the course, and similarity rating is 15%. So if we go back to the course policy document, and we start to look at these course policies here, that we have to come back to this one, assignment with submission. So we know we have to submit assignments, but there's a way I want you to actually do it and name the file and how you're supposed to arrange it. So those things. But one of the critical things is about citation. Now everybody here has done citation already, or they're familiar with citation already.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Fundamental
sir.
research.
Are there any exceptions? Is there anybody who's not doesn't understand what I'm talking about or has problems with it? Okay, sorry about that.
So, Stacy here. I want to ask a question concerning the
Hold a
personal.
second. Let me take this phone call. Hold a second.
Okay, no problem.
Hi guys, could you all take about 10 minutes and then and I'll come back to you all in a bit, please?
Yes, sir. Sure, no problem.
All right.
Sure, sir, no problem.
Take a stretch
Yes,
and
sir.
whatnot,
Yes,
right?
sir.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. Visitors are the wrong thing. Let me tell you. All right. Is everybody here still, or they still on a break?
I'm here,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right here.
All right. I think this angle might be a little better for you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I was going through the individual assignments for you guys. So let's go back to that. I know I was asking about the referencing systems. So everybody's familiar with
Yes, sir.
when you do an assignment, you have to put it through the Turnitin submission point, which is what you're seeing here. So you see two elements or two areas that you have to submit to. The first one here is to turn in an assignment to submit a paper to the Turnitin for comparative purposes. So when you put the submission in, you will be comparing it against the database of all of the other assignments. Now you are going to get some what you'll see is you'll see some similarity to some COSTAT stuff. So I'll have to help you all through that because some of the questions are the same from other areas. Okay. So these are the questions here, but it's in a better layout inside this document here, where all of the instructions are in it. So this is the assessments here. This is the individual assignment. We're suggesting a word limit of 300 words per question. And your similarity index should not be more than 15%. If it's more than 15%, then you'll get into some citation issues. The question itself, or the project itself, is marked out of 100 with 60% for the content, 10% for organization and layout, 15% for use of language, and of course 15% for citation, with the 15% similarity rating maximum. Okay, so far so good. These are the actual questions that you will be tackling. You have two questions broken up into several parts. The marks are on the per question is nexted so that you can clearly see what the marks are laid out for. And there's a rubric here that's designed to assist you with how it's evaluated and what we mean when we say what's an A paper and stuff. Now, my objective with you guys, with the things like your individual assignments, is for you to get as close to 100%, if not 100% upfront. That way, as you're going through the course, you're getting, the best opportunity to get these things sorted out. All right. So some of the content here, however, will not be taught in the classroom itself, at least not with me, because some of the content has to be examined by you guys on your own. That makes sense? Doesn't sound fair, does it? Let me know, Come on, you guys can speak up now. How many of
It's
you all,
understandable, sir.
how many of you
It is
all,
understandable.
right, but how many of you all downloaded the documentation?
Not yet.
I did, sir.
Yeah.
Why?
I did.
Yeah, because you could go through it together with me. So that's the question for the individual. The opportunity. I want to give you all an opportunity to make us. So when you do your first submission and you start to get any sort of feedback from the Turnitin area, I can look at your assignment at that point and kind of go it over with you and give you a chance to fix it if I see any content issues or language issues or organizational issues and stuff like that. So when we say organizational, if we go across to the instructions here for how you're dealing with here as submission requirements, So all individual assignments, journals, group projects must be submitted to the lecturer via these things here. I gave a protocol for how to name your file. So when you're loading the file onto the e-classroom, you're not just naming it assignment 1 and that kind of stuff or whatever. I want you to use your name followed by the course code followed by the day of the class. So in our case, it won't be Saturday, it'll be anybody?
Monday.
Monday.
Right? And this is assignment 1 and then version 1. Why version 1? Because if you're doing a new version, you may need to recode it version 2. You follow? Similarly,
Yes, sir.
right? So you're formatting the document following these standards here, and these standards come from these are what we call APA standard requirements for academic papers. So I don't want to be seeing. First off, you need to have a title page. So you can have the college title page, which I would tell you don't use because there's usually copyright issues or citation issues that come up with that. You can make your own cover pages, or just for ease of use the college cover page. But I don't want to be seeing people like to put these borders around pages and stuff to make things look stylistic. Academic papers don't have that, all right? So we're looking for it to be put on to 8.5 by 11, or what we call letter size, 1-inch margins all the way around, highly readable fonts, double spaced, okay? Now, why double spaced? Because it makes it easier for me to read. Okay, it's very, very straightforward. It has to be highly readable for me because there's how many of you all and one of me, and you see these things here on my face, they're not here because of good looks, they're here because I have vision issues. All right. Now,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Excuse me, sir. One question. You said no borders. Don't put borders on the page.
Borders and stuff is like if you're doing fanciful stuff.
Oh, okay.
You understand? But for
Yeah,
an academic paper, academic papers don't have borders.
No borders. Okay, understand.
It actually looks a lot like this. It's not justified. That's another thing students like to do. It's right aligned. So if you want further information about how to do that, you can go to this website here and look up the requirements for academic papers so that you stay within the requirements and things. Your cover page could be, stylized and creative and whatnot. But when we start to read the contents, we really just looking at making sure that it's very easy to read, and that when we move from one question to the other, we know when one question starts and where it ends. So that's why multiple parts require you to create what is called section breaks, new pages, section headings, and of course you have to do page numbering, title pages, table of contents, and that type of stuff. So everybody's familiar with that, right? They know how to do all those things in Word?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we already talked about citation, but the importance of citation is that we are using APA format. Everybody's familiar with APA, right?
It might be, well, personally for me, if you could show a APA
Yes.
format example.
Say that again, sorry.
Maybe personally better for me if you could show a APA format example.
What do you normally use, assistant?
APA, but I don't know. I all the time for some reason I have trouble doing it properly, I guess.
All right, so the link I have in this section here,
Mhm.
click on that, it'll take us to where you'll get the required resources with APA. See there, APA format and styles. All right, so I am simply using the styles that are set up by the APA guidelines.
Mhm.
All right. So what happens is that APA kind of updates itself from time to time. So right now this is what is this? is version 7, right? APA 7. So you can also use APA 6. But what the thing you want to do is, if you're using 6 or 7, you need to be consistent in whether or not you're using 6 or if you're using 7. So this document is here to assist you to try and remember all of these things. It's not something that I would say that you will learn because it changes so often. So that's why I have all these. Well, I have this particular source of information for you. All right. So you know, citation is made up of two elements. There's the in-text citation, and there's the reference lists. So during the writing of your stuff, you're gonna have like out here, according to June 19th, so and so. You have a direct quotation in this case here, whereas you could have paraphrasing, okay, and you use brackets like this. So those are the systems that you have. Then you have long quotations. So basically, it depends upon what you're quoting and how you're quoting it, or the methodology that you're using. But the methodology I'm asking you to use is the APA format. That makes sense, Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not without a resource to utilize for that purpose. So it's right here in the document, so a link that's set with it. So far, so good? Now, when you do the Turnitin, what we're looking for is a similarity rating of 15%. Now, the only way this is going to start to make sense to you is when you do a submission and then you start to see what your similarity ratings are. And then we can have a one-to-one session or maybe a group session on what that means, okay, and how to fix it if your similarity rating is above 15%, okay. All right, attendance and participation. So this is kind of a little thing. How many of you all are having problems making it to class on time for this hour, for 5 o'clock? Or would you prefer to meet for about 4:30 instead?
Personally, I'm good with 5.
So
I get off work at 5.
Right. How many of you
So
are
I'll be
coming from work?
like, I am.
And what time do you
So
finish?
I'm also coming from work.
All right, so yeah, I can't really see who's saying.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I think 5:30 would. If I have to make it for 5, I would, but 5:30 would be really nice for me.
More reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would tend to want to agree with that as well, because if you're now racing in home from work, having a little opportunity to kind of relax just a tad and get something to eat or whatnot might be useful for you. So I would say what I'll do is I'll set up for a start at 5:30. Okay, when we do our next session. Does that sound feasible, guys?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, no problem.
Yeah. So even those people who do get in early, it won't be a problem. You'd get in and you'd have some time to just relax, and it won't be too much of a race for me and for you. Okay. All right. So that's the individual assignment. So participation at 75% attendance. So what is going to happen every time we have a live session like this? I'll record it and then I'll post it to YouTube, to my YouTube channel, and put the link into the classroom for those people who may have missed the class. They could go back and look at the session, and those people who may just want to go back to review something, then you can go back and review it as well. So you'll have evidence of a recording of the class. That's why I had to turn on the recorder. All right. Meeting etiquette. Well, I spoke about this already. Muting your microphone when you're not speaking because of the ambient noise coming from your home situation. And I did say you do not need to use your video feed if you don't feel comfortable with it. I turn it on because we've been instructed from our thing. It's usually something that is good for students to have a visual of the lecturer. But there will be times when I would say, okay, well, because like right now my video is on, but I can't see what's going on the video because of the way in which my screen is set up right now. I have a different document up as occupying the space. All right. Makeups and rewrites. These are both negotiable. As I said before, if you're having some sort of issue with the quiz, let's say, for example, your internet fails you or you get a power outage during a time when you're attempting a quiz, I understand about that. That has happened here during class times with me. I've lost electricity or even had a fallout in my internet connectivity, which has caused problems. And I can understand that. I just need you to let me know what's happening so that I could give you an opportunity to fix things. All right. Of course, readings. Those are things. Chapters have been identified to help you with the content, to do your own exploration. Fortunately for you, we found some textbooks that are available online that you can utilize without having to pay for them. So feel free to use them and make your try and learn as much as possible from the information that you have there. Okay. All right. So that's the individual assignment we talked about. And again, you really can't start to work on these things until you start doing some research and readings about them. All right, taxes, subsidies, binding and non-binding, ceilings and floors, examples or mechanisms of government to intervene in markets, long-run average cost curves, economies. I was saying that some of this stuff we will not tackle directly in the classroom simply because some of the learning has to be self-directed in the sense that you guys will have to go and investigate some of these concepts on your own to try and deepen your understanding of some of the areas that we're going to be looking at. And that's the purpose of some of the individual assignments. So we have the rubric here to guide you. So these are, so you could go through it so you'd see what you're looking at in terms of what's happening across the board. All right, so journal assessment. This is the second assessment. This is another 20% assignment. So you have to select an article, either from the newspaper, online, it could be an online document or whatnot, but it has to be an article that has some sort of economic concept built into it. Now, to help you with that, you all can find articles, but you'd have to send it to me, and I have to vet them for you then. Okay? The main thing is that I'm looking to see whether or not you are starting to internalize information about the course and relate it to the real world around you. So we're looking for articles that you're gathering that's no more than 6 months old, because if it's any older than that, then the article will tend to no longer be relevant. Especially with some things, they change so quickly that the article can lose its relevance within the space of just a month or so. All right. All the other protocols for the journal assignment, just like the individual assignment, holds. Same cover page, student ID number, double, same way to set up your academic paper. And of course, you have to put it through Turnitin eClassroom link as well, and provide proper citation for it. And the same 15% thing. So the questions that you are going to do, so you're going to find this article. Once I approve it, then you're going to start by doing answering these questions. What is the article about? 5 marks, that's basically a summary of the article. Identifying 2 economic concepts discussed in the course that are addressed by the article. So it takes a little doing to find an article that will allow you that kind of width to be able to do this, and you have to go through and respond to the question, define what all these concepts are, explain how the article addresses that concept, and providing examples from the article to support the relationship between the two of them. So again, this is about taking the learning now into the real world. So it's not going to be about what resides in a textbook, but it's what resides in something that is more meaningful to you. So when you find articles that might be of interest to you, I want you to start doing some reading on a wider basis, to get articles that would provide you with stimulus to respond to this question. So you have 7 questions to respond to, including all of these here. So I would hope you guys go through and read these things and try and understand what we're asking you to do again. Again, the content is 60%. This is the way it's laid out. This is how we're assessing it. This is the rubric that we're utilizing to assist in marking it. All right, it breaks down all the areas that we're looking at. Same kind of thing with organization, layout, and citation. That becomes consistent across the board when we're dealing with it. Okay. Any questions about this assignment? So you all have. Go ahead.
No, I was saying not right now. Maybe when
Okay.
features are start after.
Yes, what I would expect to find is people who should be finding articles for me to be looking at. Have you all done an article submissions before for other subject areas, maybe
Yes.
social work areas?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it's a similar exercise, and the exercise is usually one where we try to get you to link theory and theoretical constructs to the real world around us, so that you can understand that whatever we're teaching you in the classroom or whatever we're going through in the classroom actually has relevance to the world around us. That makes sense? So that's the connection that we're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
All right, and that then brings us to the quizzes. As I said, they have there's 7 quizzes that I've set up. I've set the time limit at 20 minutes. That's more than enough time to handle 10 questions, trust me. It's supposed to be 1 minute per question. Just that. Now, as I said, I left the closing dates all at the 15th of June. That's after the end of the semester, to allow you all more time, but you will get your result. Once you do the quiz, you have a couple of attempts, 2 attempts per quiz. You should be able to know what your score will be. The objective here is to get as much of it as possible, to be able to get the best score coming out of it. Because remember, collectively, quizzes count for 30% of your final grade. Any questions on this? As I said before, if there are problems when you're doing a quiz or anything, just let me know and I can do help you out, or do something for you, kind of things like that. All right, and that brings us to the last assignment or the last assessment, which is the group project and presentation. So it's split up into 2 areas. First of all, there's this dreaded phrase that most students don't like: groups. Yes or no? People have gotten better.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So, well, basically, what I want to do is to set up a couple of groups in the class, and you all are going to choose a country that you would like to investigate. Make sense? And you're going to conduct economic analysis of them, and you're going to conduct your research and write a paper, and you're going to take that paper, and of course you're going to be presenting that write-up for me as a research project from the group, but you will also be presenting your findings from that research in a presentation. Now, we've split up the marking. 20% of the marks will be for the actual research paper, and 10% will be for the presentation. So it kind of sets up 2 different things. So for the group project, there's a written project that has to be submitted, and for the presentation, you're probably going to have some sort of PowerPoint display and whatnot, but you're going to be doing an online presentation on this forum. Okay, so far so good. And of course, the same submission requirements are required for the content, the Turnitin, the way in which your documents are set up and that kind of stuff. So the questions are, and we have 9 questions plus an introduction and conclusion to do. So you have the type questions asking about the types of economic systems that operate in the country that you've chosen, giving 2 benefits or drawbacks of that system to the country that you're researching. The dominant type of market structures that exist in the economy, and provide 2 examples of it from the specific country. Dominant types of firms that exist in the economy with 2 specific examples. 3 functions of government in that economy that you are investigating. You'll go about collecting 5 years of data on inflation, unemployment, national income for the country, and analyze what the data says about it. We've given you 1 source here, but there are other sources that you can utilize. Besides the World Bank, you can go to the IMF, CIA Factbook. A number of some countries, depending upon their level of sophistication, also have their own data sources as well. Then you're going to collect 5 years of import and export data and analyze that, and look at its trading patterns. And you're going to be talking to us about that. Then you're going to describe 4 trade restrictions that exist in that country, whether they have tariffs, quotas, embargoes, import duties, whatever they have. We want you to try and find and describe 4 of them. They may have something called non-tariff barriers, NTBs. They may also use something called, but when you get into the area, and we do international environment, when we look at trade, you should be able to start to distinguish them. Then we want you to look at the exchange rate system that they're utilizing in that country for determining their currency valuation. And we want you to look at what one impact of the system on its imports and exports. All right. 1 impact on imports, 1 impact on its exports. And then you want to look at the impact of globalization on the country, a positive impact, 2 positive impacts and 2 negative impacts. You also need to do an introduction and a conclusion. So in the introduction, what we expect is to find general information about the country itself, its demographics, its land size, its culture, key interesting things that we might want to learn about them, that type of stuff. So far so good. So the written project is worth 20%, and that will be graded 60% for the content, the organization 20%, language 10, citation 10. All right. You will present your findings in about a 20-minute oral presentation, which will be worth 10%, and that will be marked utilizing content of your presentation 60%, your presentation skills 25%, and citation 15%. We're also using a system of peer evaluation. So one of the things that students worry about or have problems with is that in a group, you may have a person or individuals in a group who are not working, or who are, what I would say, hiding inside the group, and the group is sort of protecting them. And that is not fair to the group itself. So what we're utilizing is a system of peer evaluation. Now, if a group is working well, I don't need you to do peer evaluation. But if a group is having problems, I would request peer evaluations to be done for the group. Now, the objective here is obviously not to have that problem. So if a group is having problems, then I need to hear about it fast, because my job is to help you negotiate and mediate your way through issues that may take place in group work. All right. If I don't have to use a peer evaluation tool with you, then it means that your group worked well. All right, that makes sense. But if there are problems, then I'd be utilizing peer, because what ends up happening is that based upon the scores in the peer evaluation, let's say your project ends up with 90%, but your peer evaluation score comes up and deducts a certain amount of marks from your peer. That means nobody will actually share that 90%. So of the 90%, because of the peer evaluation response, you might end up with a B plus at 85% rather than the A that you could have gotten if we worked better as a group. The objective here is to avoid those problems and try to work on them before that happens. All right. So my thing is, if the groups are having problems, and I will be asking questions about it, I want you all to let me know, and we could meet collectively to discuss the issues and try and work it out. All right, so some more rubrics here. You have the rubric for the presentation and the project, and of course the peer evaluation tool that's here. The way you do it, you score. There are 25 questions, which the score is 0 to 4. So you put the name of you can't score yourself, obviously. You put the name of the person here, and you score them in each of the questions out of 0 to 4. All right. So this is 25 questions. If they get 4 in each question, that's a total of 100. But that therefore determines the percentage value of the final score that they will end up getting based upon the average of all submissions from every member of the group for everybody else. All right. So far, so good. Everybody's clear on that?
Yes,
So
sir.
I want to ask a quick question, please. Concerning the individual journal with a newspaper article. So I do journals already, but I don't know what type of document to proceed. When I say, well, if I could get like a government or describe it to know the country demographic locations, what and what pertaining to the document, or I have to get something with the economy. I don't know what kind of document to look for on the newspaper.
What kind of article to look for?
Article to, yeah.
Right.
Article
So
to look to do.
articles can come from the Everyday Express. They can come from online journals. They can come from online publications. The idea here is that I want you to look at popular work, popular publications, and then work out if there are economic concepts embedded in the article that that is being discussed. That makes sense to you now?
So what you could put up a
So for example,
yeah, or a sample,
for
please.
example, you remember during last semester, all the information started to come up about GATE and the change in policy. You all familiar with that? You all read those articles when the new Minister of Education started to talk about the change in GATE policy, and it was published in articles by various newspapers.
Yeah.
Right. That article was actually a popular one that students utilized for this exercise because it had a direct impact upon them from an economic standpoint, because it affected a number of things about the students' ability to be able to access free education. You following me? So now the concept that you're not linking to economics is that that would have impacted upon aspects of economic development. It would have impacted upon demand and supply. Remember, some of those are titles of the units that you should remember seeing in the course schedule. Demand and supply, economic growth and development. Those things sound familiar?
Yes, sir.
Well, by the time you finish this course, hopefully these things will sound more familiar to you. That's why I'm not leaving you on your own to go and find an article. You might find something and you think it might have an economic aspect to it. You send it to me via WhatsApp or email, and I could look at it and say, yes, this has good things. What do you think? What you're thinking about it? What concepts are you seeing? Those are the things that I'm going to help you with. So I'm not just abandoning you. I'm going to help you with it as well. Help you kind of navigate your way through the concepts that you're looking at. That sounds better?
Yes, sir, thanks.
Yeah? Is it clearer at all to you? You don't sound very convinced.
Yes, I am understanding.
Okay. You don't sound very convinced though. All right, so the last things that are on this thing here is the presentation rubric and the group project rubric. So I expect that you guys will be looking at these things, and if you have questions that you want to ask, we can get back to them. So you correlate that now to the course outline, and you're going to see the, the course outline basically kind of corresponds with those elements of things. So let's all right. So these are all the things that we're looking at, you trying to get into here. Don't like this format. So these are the different the linkages to the assignments that we've given you. So in terms of all the learning outcomes that are identified in the course outline, each assignment, so this one here is the individual assignment as the first one. The other one is the journal. So you all can go through and read and see what's going on. These are the quizzes. A lot of knowledge recall will go on with that. And then, of course, the final project and presentation that kind of cuts across all the learning objectives. All right. Any questions thus far? No? All right, so we still have a couple things to do. First thing first, as we talk about group work, we need to get started with groups already. So what I'd like to do is get you guys to arrange yourselves into some groups. How do you all want to go about arranging groups? We're doing that tonight, okay? So no pun. This is a distinct lack of conversations here. Why is this?
So I think it's best you.
No. I don't know. Because I will just start to say, all right, the first 5, that's one group, next 5, no, that's not good.
Excuse me, sir.
So basically what I have 25 people in the class. I'm seeing 5 groups, 5 each. Somebody wants to yeah.
Hello. I think I will go with the person who spoke and said I think you should create the groups because I'm not really familiar with the people, so I don't think we are so familiar with each other. So I think it would be best if you just select 5. I don't
I
know.
agree as well, sir. I am not familiar with anyone in the class at the moment, so it would be a bit difficult to do so.
So this Morticia, what program are you doing?
I'm doing mass communications.
How many other mass communication students are there in this class?
I've heard like about 2
I'm
more.
I'm journalism.
Journalism.
I think there's like 2 other people, but I'm included in the mass comm.
Right. So how else are you going to get to meet other people?
I guess if we have to do it, then I guess in my opinion I would choose the other mass comm, and if there's any other journalism people, there's a similarity something.
So let me be real. Like
And
Patrick, you have your hand up?
then there's the social workers, because I know there's a few social workers there as well.
Yeah, there are social workers too. There's site people and there's the IT guys. Now the problem with I have with that is you don't get to widen your network if you stick to only the same people that you're custom meeting all the time. So it might be a good idea that you all don't know too many of the other people in your classroom, and therefore I could get an opportunity to mix you all up a little bit. That makes sense?
Yes, I understand.
All right. So, there are some questions here, and then I'm going to say, who is the, all right, Ophelia, what program are you doing?
I'm doing social work.
Social work. Bob, what program are you doing? IT?
Yeah, IT.
Guru, Sumati?
Social work.
All right, I'm quoting you all right now. Kujo, Thomas Kujo?
Social work.
All right. Cupid is not here today. Duke.
Environmental management, sir.
Right. Gubari.
Social work, sir.
Whitman.
Mass communications.
Joseph. Angelica.
Psychology.
That's S-I-S. No, that's P-S-Y, right?
Yeah.
Sorry?
PSYCHOLOGY.
No. That, I want a code.
PSYCH, yeah.
No, not psycho. P-S-Y, right? Kelly Garcia is not here. Smith, Mr. Smith, your IT as well?
Yeah.
Karishma Mirage.
She does psych.
Right. Renacia. Renacia still here? Anybody familiar with Renacia? Looks like she fell off the system. All right, we'll come back to
Hi,
it.
sir.
Hi, Renacia. What program are you doing?
Social work.
All right, I'm coding people to get some concept of how to put all in groups. Miller is IT.
Correct.
All right.
IT.
Osborne.
Journalism, sir.
Sorry. Journalism.
Yes, sir.
All right, Patrick.
Music.
Music, right? You're the lone musician here. Sutherland, Philip.
Social work.
Up.
Mass comm.
Ram Prasad.
Journalism.
Amrup.
IT.
IT. Ruplal.
Psych.
Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sneaky here, way. Kind of sneaky people this way. Miss Ruplal. Miss Ruplal, where do you live?
In Marabella.
Ah, okay. Sinan. Lawrence.
Psych.
Psych.
Yes.
Small.
Psych, sir.
People here, way. Sukram.
Social work.
Alright. Anybody's familiar with? All right, hold on. Let me cheat a little bit here. Who we don't have here? Jonathan Taylor. All right, Jonathan Taylor's journalism. Any of the journalists familiar with him?
Yes, sir.
And Kelly Garcia. Garcia. Social work. All right. So, oh, my bad. We also have somebody called Cupid that's missing as well. Cupid. Cupid is mass communications. Any of you mass comm people familiar with Cupid? Malana, I think
Yeah,
it's
I've had a few classes with her.
mass comm, right?
Yes, sir.
This is a nice mix here, man. Yeah, we can have a preponderance of social work though, but that's not a bad thing. See, you could put a filter on this and that could help me. All right, so we have one environmental person, 1, 2, 3, 4 IT, 3 journalists, 3 mass comm, 1 musician, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 psychology people, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 social workers. It's a nice mix. All right, so what we could do is we can split up our social workers and add a social worker, a psych. That makes sense to you guys? Kind of mix the different
Yes, sir, it does.
let's together. All right. So I'm gonna do something here now, and I know it sounds boring. I'm just cutting and pasting names here. Right. So I have some groups here. Let's hope that people are happier with them. Um, let's see if I can. All right. Are you guys seeing this by chance?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it too small? So
No,
I have
sir.
Yes, sir.
still too small. How about that? Well, let's focus on group one for now. So group one is made up of Sukram, Small, Patrick, Ramrup, and Duke. Y'all familiar? Y'all seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. People need to take note of it, huh, by the way. All right. Group two is Bab, Osborne, Joseph, Alain, and Philip Sutherland. Group 3 is Christian Smith, Morticia, Karishma, Sumati, and Randika. Okay, so I think the only people who are absent right now are this individual here, and Jonathan. Crap. All right, let me flip this a bit here. I need to trade one of these absent people out from here. All right. Morticia, I'm moving you a bit.
Okay, sir.
All right, because what I don't want two absent people in one group, just in case they never turn up now. All right, so I'm shifting you from group 3 to group 5. So the journalism person is your mass communication, right, Morticia?
Yes, I am.
Right. So I just traded a mass communication person from one group to another. So Mr. Smith, you guys have one of the persons who's absent, and then there's somebody else who's absent. That is Cupid Kelly Garcia. And crap, Kelly Garcia in the same group as well. All right, so I'm gonna switch a social worker. Anybody's familiar with this this social worker, Kelly Garcia?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So Ophelia, I'm going to put you into this group, and I'm gonna switch out Kelly Garcia here. All right. That way, I know they should turn up, but just in the event that they don't and they withdraw from class or anything like that, no one group will be too adversely affected, because it's better that a group remains smaller than starts to get too big and cumbersome. All right. So group 5 is made up of Jonathan Taylor, Morticia Pickup, Lauren Sinan, Jessica Barry, and Ophelia Aline. All right. Okay, so what I need you guys to do now is each group, I would like you all to kind of talk to each other a little bit, and now, and or how you want to do this? When I add you all to the group, what I need is by the next time I speak to you all, or in the WhatsApp group, I need you all to choose 3 countries that you would like to, or 2 countries that you'd like to look at to research. I don't want you all duplicating countries, however. You're following the instructions there? So,
Yeah.
group 1.
Yes.
That's with Mr. Duke and Sean, Ramrup, Shola, Shanice, and Eureka. You all need to talk to each other. I would like you all to do it now, because I'd like you all to come to some decisions before we finish tonight, so that I'll give you some further instructions to do while we are away to move your group project forward. Now, one of the other things I want you all to use the group activities for, or the groupings for, is to become your own little network to help each other out. Make sense? That sound feasible, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because if you all have a sub network in the classroom that you all could support each other, that'll be fantastic. Yeah. And you all can assist each other with your individual assignments, as well as the, or there's no problem with people sharing an article. So if one group finds an article that they like, they could share it with each other, and you all can all use the same article, because everybody's methodology of assessment is not going to be the same. All right, so you all can help each other through the class. And of course, if I find an article myself and I set it up in the WhatsApp chat, I will share it with everybody, and everybody could choose it to use it as well. All right. I would actually like you all to kind of try and speak to each other now, and come. I'm gonna give you all about. I'm gonna stop the recording now. All right. Actually, I should have stopped that a little while.